I've hit my unmute button. Sean, can you hear me?
I can hear. Can you hear me?
Who's asking?
This is John Tate.
Well, hey, John, I just got a note from Sean asking me if to hit my unmute button, but apparently you can hear me.
Yes, can you, and you can hear me okay. All right.
Yeah. Who else is on that could do for the test? Oh, whoever the host is, that must be Sean. Answer me, host.
Thank you very much, Tom. I appreciate that.
We all square. Sean, how do you like my background?
Hello. We have 5. Tom and Tawana are online, right?
Yes.
Are we live yet?
Um,
Usually Karen, normally Karen. She's always a little late. Yeah. She's usually about 5, 10 minutes late.
Steve, do we have a quorum?
Yes, we do. We have 5 people here.
Okay. I can only see you and
All
Ronnie.
you need to see. No, I don't. That's good.
You and Ronnie are nice, but you know,
You should be able to see, we have Ronnie and Medessar, and I believe Tawana's online.
there we go. I like my new background.
Wow.
That's a cloud nebula.
Oh, you got one of those things where you put the, yeah. I've been at the beach before. I go all over the place with those backgrounds. Very nice. Okay. Are we live yet?
yes, sir.
Okay. All right. We'll begin the meeting tonight. Call to order. We'll start with the invocation. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we ask for your blessings tonight. We pray that you give us guidance in our decisions for what is best for our city and county. Please bless all that are with us tonight and online, and keep us all free from injury, hurt, or harm. In your name we pray. Amen. We can all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
States of America.
and to the republic which stands one nation,
Nation.
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. We have some virtual housekeeping rules, which Teresa, or,
Yes, sir.
okay.
This meeting is being streamed live on Facebook and being recorded. Due to audio sensitivity, please refrain from sidebar conversations or personal comments for anyone in attendance. There is a 15-second delay between the live meeting and the Facebook stream. All virtual participants' microphones will be automatically muted by the meeting facilitator. For those in attendance here in the auditorium, please do not stream Zoom or Facebook due to negative impacts on the audio. Comments submitted via Facebook will become an official part of the record. Please limit the comments to the case being heard.
All right, thank you. We'll move on to a roll call. If I call your name, you say aye if you're here or online. Tom Harrison,
Here, online.
okay. Mudessar Ahmed,
Here.
okay. Karen Benton,
Present.
Ronnie Burrell,
Here.
Ernestine Stovall Goolsby, okay. Okay. Ernesty's not with us. Tawana Smith Venti.
Here, online.
Tawana's with us online. Okay. All right. Welcome all. Next item on the agenda is approval of minutes. The August 13th regularly scheduled meeting.
Mr. Chairman, approval of the agenda.
Okay. I'm sorry. I apologize. Skip. Okay. Approval, let's back one. Approval of the agenda for this evening.
Make a motion, we approve the agenda for this evening.
Second.
Motion by Ronnie to approve, second by Mendesar. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Aye.
All right. Okay. Next item, I skipped too early too. Approval of the minutes, August 13th regularly scheduled meeting.
Make a motion, we approve the minutes for August 13th meeting.
Motion by Ronnie to approve,
I'll second it.
second by Karen. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. The September 10th meeting was canceled due to lack of agenda items. Okay. We have rules and procedures for the public hearing. Let's see.
If you are joining us in person, each speaker must sign their name to the appropriate zoning case sheet and fill out a public comment card to register your intent to speak prior to the start of this meeting. If you are joining us virtually, you should have registered your intent to speak with staff prior to the start of this meeting. Each item of business will be handled in the order that it appears on the agenda, unless upon motion of the Planning Commission, the order is changed. A member of the city or county planning staff will present each item to the Planning Commission and will further provide a recommendation upon each item of business. The zoning applicant or the agent will state their name and address and will have 10 minutes in which to make his or her presentation. Any portion of their 10 minutes may be reserved for rebuttal following the opposition to the application. After the applicant's presentation, all registered speakers who wish to speak in favor of the application will then be heard. The secretary will call all speakers by name in the order of persons attending live in the auditorium, then persons attending via the virtual meeting. Prior to speaking upon the item, each speaker will state their name and address. They will also be limited to a total of 10 minutes. Once the applicant has made his or her presentation and the speakers in favor of the application have been heard, the secretary will call upon the registered speakers in opposition to the application. The speakers will be called by name in the order of persons attending live in the auditorium, then persons attending via the virtual meeting. The opposition will likewise be limited to a total of 10 minutes. Once the public hearing portion is closed, no other speakers will be heard. After all public comments have been heard, the Planning Commission may hold a general discussion. The Planning Commission will then vote and forward the recommendation on to the City of Conyers City Council or the Rockdale County Board of Commissioners public hearing.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda, there are items that are requested to be withdrawn pending receipt of official letter. And these items are the same properties with future land use map, case number 2020-2385 and 0 G's Mill Road and 0 Glen Road. It was to amend the comprehensive land use map from light industrial and medium density residential to high density residential, and the rezoning of the same property from R1 single family to RM multifamily. Chris, do you have anything, comments?
Yes, sir, that has been officially withdrawn. And the request today is that whether or not the Planning Commission accepts that withdrawal.
Okay, all right. So we have the voting on the withdrawal of the future land use map case and the rezoning case. Any discussion? Questions? Okay. Any motions?
Make a motion to accept the withdrawal letter.
Okay. All right. Do we have the official letter yet?
Yes, sir, that was a Yes, sir, that is available online, and I believe should be one of the printed packets.
Okay, thank you. Okay, all right. All right, we have a motion to withdraw the withdrawal of the future land use map case and the rezoning case. Motion made by Ronnie Burrell,
I'll second it.
second by Karen Benton. Any further discussion? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries unanimously. Next item on the agenda, the old unfinished business. We have City of Conyers none. We do have one for Rockdale County, item R1. A special use permit case 2020-01, a request for a recycling center to crush recycled concrete and asphalt. Location 213, 214, 215 Camden Industrial Parkway. Size is 5.042 acres. Owner is Trenton Lee Pippin. The agent is Jeremy Moulton of the Moulton Law Firm.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Terry Petrie, zoning administrator. This request for a special use permit for a recycling center to crush recycled concrete and asphalt was referred back to the Planning Commission by the Board of Commissioners due to staff's recommendations regarding new conditions, along with the receipt of the sound level measurement report. The property is currently zoned industrial and has an existing dump truck business. The applicant wishes to expand that business into crushing and sorting the materials that the dump truck business hauls. This property is located in the corner of Sigmund, Lester, and Farmer Roads. And it is the back parcels of the commercial subdivision. In 1985, the Board of Commissioners rezoned the property as part of the M1 tract with conditions. The property is approximately right in this area bounded by red. The condition affecting the property was the requirement for a 100-foot buffer along the northern property line. This condition remains on the property and is depicted on the 1996 revised final plat for Camden Industrial Park. The buffer, the 100 buffer is shown here, along with a diagonal Georgia Power easement that is, I believe, was 150 feet wide. The applicant intends to pave the rest of this area, along with install 5 proposed bins, locate a mobile crusher with a sorter, and a solid wood fence surrounding the facility, particularly in between the buffer and the residential properties to the north. This is an example of the bunkers and bins that are used for inert materials such as asphalt and concrete. So on July 25th, the sound pressure level measurement was conducted by Waveguide. The Board of Commissioners held their hearing on July 28th, and then an on-site demonstration of the crusher occurred on August 7th. On August 25th, the Board of Commissioners referred this back to the Planning Commission. And this is the result of the measurements that Waveguide performed and this was not on site. This was at a different location. However, the highest that it occurred from the crusher was 10 feet on the side, which was 87 dBA. And so that was the highest that Rave Guide measured the sound from this specific rock crusher. Staff recommends approval of the special use permit request for a recycling center to crush recycled concrete and asphalt with the following conditions: that the hours of operation for crushing shall be limited to Monday through Friday between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. The sales of the non-recycled and recycled product may occur during the normal business hours of the dump truck business. Bins or bunkers may be designed to hold inert materials for outdoor storage. Broken concrete, asphalt, and the recycled product shall be directly placed. A conveyor belt may be used into the bins, bunkers designed to hold those materials for storage, or transport machinery from the crusher, i.e. the recycled product should not be on the ground outside of a bin bunker. The decibels shall not exceed 100 dBA at a 10-foot distance from the crusher. Due to the forethought of the 1985 Board of Commissioners, a 100-foot undisturbed buffer exists at the rear of the property adjacent to the residential properties to the north. Additionally, a 100-foot Georgia Power easement exists on 1920 Rock Bridge Road going diagonal from southwest to northeast, which is directly north of the proposed bins. The easement also runs diagonally on the property, which reduces the location of permanent structures. Therefore, under these specific conditions, this facility may exist on a property adjacent to the residential properties to the north. The county shall be provided with the relevant state and federal approvals before operation of the crusher. A fugitive dust control plan shall be developed by a state of Georgia registered engineer provided to the county and complied with, i.e. dust suppression measures such as using wind barriers, limit work or activities which may generate dust to less windy days, including but not limited to the use of a wet suppression system shall be used to control dust during crushing. A stormwater pollution prevention plan shall be developed by a state of Georgia registered engineer, provided to the county and complied with, as i.e. mitigate the stormwater quality concerns. And that's all the staff has at this time.
Okay. Do we have agent here?
Good evening. Tyrus did a great job at.
Sir, you may want your name and address.
I'm sorry.
Name and address.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Trent Pippin. I'm the owner of the property of 213 Camden Industrial Parkway.
Okay.
Tyrus did a good job at explaining the general practices of what we're going to be doing. Like he said, we did a live demonstration to show that there's not, an obtuse amount of dust. It's very minor. It's less than what would normally be generated by just a dump truck driving by, as well as the decibels for the machine were well under 100. At the loudest side, it was 87 decibels at 10 feet. And the plan that I have selected is as far away from any residences that can be. With that, I'm just going to save the rest of my time.
Okay. Thank you. Is there anyone signed up to speak?
We do not have anybody to speak in favor of the application, excuse me, but we do have one person speaking in opposition. Can we have Dr. Linda Akins-Young come to the podium?
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
Planning and Zoning Board members of the Conyers of Rockdale County. I am Linda Akins-Young, and I represent the residents of Farmer, Lester Road, and surrounding communities. I'm not sure whether to thank you for this opportunity to speak, for fear that next month I may have to return and do it all over again, as I'm doing tonight. Somehow we, the residents of Farmer Road and surrounding communities, feel like we're going in circles. With the residents of Farmer Road and communities who oppose this request, please stand. Thank you. As you will recall, we attended your July 9th meeting and voiced our concern regarding the request by Mr. Pippin to have a machine at a current dump truck storage site that will crush concrete and asphalt. The property in question backs up to our properties on Farmer Road, and we're very concerned about several factors that will impact our quality of life if this permit is granted. Noise. The grueling, crushing noise will allow us to have no solitude inside or outside our homes. We already suffer through dump trucks raising their motors and idling at all kinds of hours of the day and evening. More important than anything else are environmental concerns. Dust, dirt, debris from crushing the concrete and asphalt will settle on our bodies, our homes, our cars, and will cause possibly medical impact to our lungs and the lungs of our children and grandchildren, preventing us from being able to properly breathe clean air. From our research, if this request is granted, our exposure to concrete and asphalt particles will be as detrimental to our health as COVID-19 because silica quartz dust particles are emitted from this process. And these dust particles, by research and substantiated by the medical community, cause permanent damage to human lungs, resulting in silicosis and lung cancer. We provided you at the July 9th meeting research on these diseases and 5 pages of petitions signed by residents of the community asking you to deny this permit request. The same battle that we're fighting in our neighborhood is being fought by Stonecrest residents 5 miles up the road from us in DeKalb County with a company that's called Metro Green. Recently, the DeKalb County legislative delegation joined the residents to push against this proposed Stonecrest recycling plant. Residents are raising funds to hire legal representation to fight this recycling center in court, and recently got the EPD involved. I have copies of an October 1st article from the AJC about the legislative delegation joining in this fight. At your July meeting, you approved this request and you sent it to our Rockdale County Board of Commissioners. As you discussed this issue in July, you talked about stipulations that never surfaced at the commissioners' meeting. Stipulations the required installation of a 15-foot fence, operation of the truck, rock crushing only 1 or 2 days per week, and no operation on weekends. And I noticed that when Chris shared the stipulations this evening, it has now jumped to 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. Originally, the request was for 1 or 2 days per week, because this was going to be like a side something that was being done. So it's already changed before it's been approved. Hours of operation, he did include that in the recommendations. On those 1 or 2 days, we're supposed to be from 10 to 4. And another stipulation that we are concerned about is that the same machine would be used. I know you talked about decibels and trying out machines, and we went for the on-site sharing of the machine, but we're concerned that that machine, if this permit is granted, not be exchanged out for other machines to do the job in between, and we want that control. Now, we don't want these stipulations in place. We're asking you to deny this because we say that this permit is in violation of the Rockdale County Land Use Plan, and it definitely does not enhance all the work that the county is doing on the Sigmund Road project. However, if you as a board follow the recommendation of the Rockdale County staff, the same as you did in July, we ask you to please revisit these stipulations and make sure that the ones I just shared to you go with the recommendation to the county commissioners. And I have copies of the October 1st AJC article that I'd like to leave with board members. Please don't just leave them on the table. I saw my stack when it was over the last time, still on the stack. And we thank you for the opportunity to speak with you.
Thank you. Now here, time for a rebuttal.
Thank you. Concerning the residents of Farmer Road, I definitely understand the concerns that they have. They feel that if this gets approved, where will it go? What could it become? The machine that we used is the machine that we are going to use. That is the machine that we have pushed to get approved. The noise level is very quiet. It's no louder than just an idling dump truck. As far as it goes with the exposure to silica dust, I would like to remind the board that we are adhering to all OSHA guidelines when it comes to silica dust. We put on a demonstration to show the unit crushes in an enclosed place, and it sprays a light mist, which doesn't produce runoff. It would moisten the ground around it, but the dust level that emitted is very, very, very minor. Obviously, the safety of the residents as well as my employees would be of my utmost concern. I would like to point out that the benefits to having an inert recycle center is that it is a green business. We are taking a product that takes thousands of years to biodegrade. A good example would be the Roman Colosseums. They are made of concrete, and not only are they still, not biodegraded, thousands of years later, they still stand. So we would be taking a material that takes lifetimes to biodegrade and would be destined to fill up a landfill, and we are giving it new purpose. We are going to be able to recycle that material and use it as road base for other construction projects. I definitely understand the concerns that the residents would have as far as where this would go. Like, what if it just explodes and there's just so much business, which I 100% hope that would happen. But I would like to remind the board that the area that I'm using is very small. I would only be able to handle a capacity of so much. And really, this is just a way. I have an empty plot of land that I'm trying to make yield. This would be a small scale endeavor that would be used for just servicing my existing customers. When it pertains to what she had said about 2 days a week, when I initially had come up here to present this, I said it is likely that we would crush on an average of a couple of days a week. I would assume this would not be a 5-day operation. But the reason for having it Monday through Friday is that if we were to get a job where we say got 50 loads, right, we would have to crush it right then, which may take 5 days. Whereas if there may be weeks where we don't crush at all. The crushing hours would be limited to 10 to 4, Monday to Friday. There would be no early morning, no weekends, stuff like that. Being courteous to the surrounding residents would be very important to me. give it back to you guys.
Are there any questions?
One question. If I recall, doesn't the machine have a safety shutdown? Like if it doesn't emit above a certain level, does it shut down on its own, or
As far as dust,
any kind of product that could be toxic to the environment or to the people?
no, ma'am, the machine doesn't have a shutdown if it was to emit too much dust or to be the machine.
Thank you.
The machine, it crushes in an enclosed thing, and there's a spray bar that mounts to the top. It comes from the factory that way, and it sprays a mist over the where you would enter. You know, you put the broken concrete in the top. It would go down to the jaws that are enclosed in the machine, and it would crush it, and then it comes out on a belt, and then it would go out. Now, what the spray does is that not only does it keep dust from coming out, it also moistens the material as it's going in, so that when it comes out on the belt as well, it has enough moisture to keep the dust levels very low. The levels with this machine don't even, from as far as OSHA guidelines go, is so minor that the operator doesn't even have to wear any kind of face coverings.
What about EPA guidelines?
As far as the like runoff or
any kind of runoff,
Yes,
anything
that's
that,
my question will be that the runoff, does the EPA will get involved in that for the runoff? Because you are
or
not far away
environmental.
from the water body.
okay, from the spray. Okay, so the amount of spray that is used.
No, I'm not talking about the spray, once it's held in those bins and we have a storm like we had last week, and that runoff from there, it's gonna go to wherever.
Everything that we would be using is not toxic in any way. Concrete is just sand, and it's just like that comes out of the earth. It's minerals, it's
I
sand.
read the asphalt and concrete somewhere.
The concrete is a petroleum-based product. It would essentially grind it up to a small. It would grind it up to a small level. It's no different. They have them at asphalt plants all over. It's called millings. People use it for their driveways, stuff like that. There's no, and it's completely allowed by the EPA. You can put it on a driveway next to a lake. There's no
I'm not
toxic
talking
runoff.
from that standpoint. My question is about that becoming part of our water bodies, going to the rivers, going to that, so storm water. How much burden we will put on the storm water once you have the runoff after the rain or the storm and all that. So does EPA gets involved with that?
Not to my
Because
knowledge.
asphalt is something which you cannot dump in the river, right?
I'm sorry. No, you can't. You can't dump concrete in a river. You can't dump a lot of stuff in the river.
So that's what my question is, that do we have anything from the EPA which says that, it will not be harmful for, our water bodies?
No, I do
Because
not.
there will be a runoff. I mean, no matter how we
Sure,
say,
sure, of course. of
once
course.
it's stored over there, we cannot control it.
Correct.
So what will be the effect on our water bodies because of that runoff?
I-
And the surrounding areas, it may not reach to the water bodies that far, but to the surrounding areas, wherever the water flow will be.
Correct.
For the stormwater standpoint.
Yeah, I understand. Yes, I'm not really, I don't know how to answer that question. It's to my knowledge, there is no harmful effects to the environment. Of course, if we would adhere to any EPA guideline as well. The guidelines that we were going to be using for this machine were all of the OSHA guidelines as far as silica dust control, as well as the military base. I had a packet for the commissioners. Honestly, I wasn't planning on getting it reverted back, or I would have kept one.
One of the recommendations, I think when you get to it, is a stormwater pollution prevention plan.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
So
Yeah, and
I
like I said,
we're kind of getting ahead of it, but it is part of it. But I'm just worried about like the EPA of the dust in the air, what the residents are a little
How far
concerned
does the
about.
dust travel?
The dust that, I wish we had a demonstration, and we put it on to, show what we were planning on doing. The dust that, I should have videotaped it. It's so minor.
I saw the video.
Correct.
But there was no way for me to tell
Sure.
how visible the dust is or how much it actually
Sure.
travels. So the video really didn't
Sure.
show me anything.
And I would like to point out that as far as the EPA, as far as runoff would go, my entire parking lot is ground up asphalt, is the Millings product that we would be generating from the broken asphalt, which the machine is able to do, but that would be the majority of what we would be doing would be crushing recycled concrete or recycling concrete. And crushing that into reusable base. That would be our primary product, would be braided aggregate base. Road base is generally what we would be making.
Mr. Pippin, I have one question.
Go ahead,
When
Tom.
you load the trucks to remove the material, I'm assuming you use a front end loader or something like that. How much dust is created at that point? And is it something to be concerned about for the residents when you're making the loading the stuff out?
Okay, that's a good question. I have no way to measure how much it is, though it's not uncommon for us to load those kinds of materials in our day-to-day operations as it is. The dust level that would be, yes, there would be dust. There's dust with pretty much everything in the construction business. Even like if just a dump truck drives across my yard, it makes a plume of dust. It would be far greater than anything that this machine would do, or loading the truck. That is a good question. I don't have a way to.
Is there a misting process you could do at that point?
I'm sorry?
Is there a misting process that, spraying it down as you load?
I hadn't really thought of that. I suppose we could wet the material before it was loaded to a truck, though I think that would be a bit overkill. The dust that's generated from loading a dump truck is very, very small.
Okay, thank you.
So to go back to my question, how far does the dust travel, or do you don't have that data?
I have no way to.
Right.
I don't know. I guess that would depend on wind conditions and
Right, yeah.
things of that nature.
That would be my concern. Is the dust going to be traveling to the residential areas?
Well, again, I would like to add that there's going to be dust that's generated from this machine,
Yes.
but it's so much less than what we already do. I definitely understand the concerns that we have, but like I move heavy equipment around, dump trucks around, and when a dump truck drives across the yard, it makes a cloud of dust, And of course, we try to keep it as slow to make it as little as we can. But I would say that it would be 10 times as much just from having a dump truck go by.
But I think you'll admit that it's the type of dust I'm talking about. The dump truck doesn't have the silica being, distributed throughout the year. So that's why I wanted to know, I understand the dump truck, but we're talking about the silica. That's the harmful particles.
Also, as far as that is concerned, other recycle centers, I had a packet again. I wish I could have found it. There are almost every recycle center in the metro Atlanta area, which there are dozens, are within 1,000 feet of residence, some of them 150 feet. It's not everything that we do is adhered to. It's not uncommon to be within proximity of residences. And that was the whole point of us putting on the presentation, was to show the commissioners and the residences that the dust emissions are at a very, very safe level.
Steve, have you looked at the staff report and the recommendations, the staff recommendations?
Have I?
Have you, yeah, have you?
Yes.
Okay. Some of that might be addressed in that.
Well, you know, there's requirements they need to have, but I don't know, we have that,
What kind
The
of revenues
fugitive-
we are looking at? I mean,
the
it's
dust
With a
multi-million dollar
fugitive
revenues
dust
generator
control plan.
for the company?
I'm
Is it a multi-million dollar revenue generator for the company from that, whatever you will do?
the projected value of,
Yeah.
of the recycle center?
The projected gross sales of the, recycling center. So we
It's-
are looking at 10 million a year or
I was thinking more along the lines of 500,000.
a year?
Yes.
Karen, I'm to answer you right, the fugitive dust control.
The,
plan,
the
I
fugitive
saw.
dust, the fugitive dust control plan.
Right. Saw that.
And I would like to add, as far as the dust that's generated from this machine is not from the crushing machine itself. The dust that is generated is from where the bucket dumps would dump the broken concrete into it. If there was, like a dust that would be in with that, that's where the dust comes from this machine. The spray bar keeps the dust pretty much none. Tyrus, you were at the demonstration.
I wasn't there.
Oh, you were not there. Okay, sorry. Thought you were.
So where does that dust go? Does that go typically to the ground and just,
You mean the dust
from the bucket when it pours
So,
into?
yeah, it would just be, the recycle center itself, we wouldn't be able to take raw materials that were contaminated with dirt. Although, there may be some that has a little dirt mixed with it, because they're peeling it off of the ground. In that case, that would be the dust that's generated, is the dirt that would have been built up around it. I have no way to sort the dirt from the raw materials, so that the dirt would just go into the base. So we would have to keep it at a very low level. But that would be the dust that is generated from the machine, was from when we were loading the material into it, not from the crushing process itself.
All right. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you.
Okay. I'd like to add one more thing, as well as the idea that this would grow to colossal proportions, because I only have such a limited space. If it were to become, like you said, like a multi-million-dollar a year company, I would have to find another piece of property to do it on, that would be great. But my whole focus on this is to be just a small scale, get a load here or there. Maybe we get a job where we get 10 or 15 loads, and then we can recycle it, which is good for the economy, and it complements my business well. That's really what the extent that it would be with the amount of space that I have to utilize.
So what is your threshold? When would you think that you would have to move from that space?
It would really, when I outgrew it, on the site plan, the bins are only so big, that my area for raw materials is so big. Once I had so many once my bins are full, I have to say no more, right? And then once that happens, and I would identify that, hey, I'm losing, I'm losing potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars a year because I'm having to turn all this work away, then I would look to do that. I have 2 acres there that I don't have anything on, and I'm just trying to make it yield.
And you can't produce under the Georgia Power easement, correct?
Correct. Yes, ma'am. Like
That's a significant part.
Correct. And that's why the site plan is strictly where it is. The other side of that property is where I operate my trucking business from. And I just have an empty lot there. And I was thinking that would be a good way to be good for the economy. It would, possibly we wouldn't produce many jobs, but 2 or 3. And so and it complements my business well.
Any other questions? Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. We're now in discussion. Comments?
I've got, I guess, a question. I understand that the commissioners went and the residents went. Was the planning commission sent an invitation to, observe this? I'm just thinking in the future, maybe we should be sent an invite.
That is a good point. I agree.
I have a question too. So are we not,
Tawana?
I have a question too. So we're not going to consider even the original, what do you call them? The original request? Maybe monitor how many days they can do it and the hours of which they can do it from the original feedback that we gave the last time?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
This planning commission did recommend approval on July 9th of this request with two conditions. One being that decibels be presented to the commission and that they not exceed 100 decibels from distance of 10 feet. The second one is that the hours of operation be limited to 10 to 4 during the weekdays, Monday through Friday. And so that was the original planning commission's recommendation.
Okay. Thank you.
I guess still my question will be why EPA is not involved in it? Because to me, that asphalt, whenever we deal with the asphalt, the EPA should have to be involved in that somehow. So if there is something that, we need some kind of a certification from them before,
Yes, sir. And that is why staff recommended in the recommendation was that the county shall be provided with the relevant state and federal approvals before operation of the crusher. That was recommendation number 7.
What's considered relevant state and federal approvals?
Including EPA and EPD, the Georgia State EPD.
Okay. Certainly can recommend, modifying that to say including EPA, including but not limited to EPA or EPD approvals. So decide to do that. Any other comments? Okay. All right, any?
Like in the opposition, they said that if we want to approve, they will like to see less days of operation. So can we discuss with, can we ask them to come back and, kind of if they.
Yes, if you'd like to ask.
Yeah. And not him, but, the opponents,
The
doctor,
opponent.
whoever.
Okay,
That if she thinks that, when we are approving, if we do Monday to Thursday instead of Monday to Friday, they will be. Or something, I don't know, once
Okay,
again,
right.
if we are negotiating the terms, why don't we negotiate where everybody is happy? Instead of, going and listening to just one part.
right.
Don't limit it too much. The faster his business grows, the faster he'll be to another piece of property. With that business.
Business is gonna grow, really, we all know that.
Yeah.
This 5 bins are gonna be full in first week.
Saying.
So can we bring them back to, or no?
Well,
Need staff recommendation though.
what's that?
Ever heard from the staff recommendation?
I'm sorry, Tro.
I'm sorry, staff recommendation.
The staff recommended, I believe he went over those. Your
did.
staff recommendations.
Yeah.
Let me
He
show
read
it.
the whole thing.
What's that?
Want me to show the staff recommendation?
Yeah, you can put those up. I know you read them before.
So this is the first 5,
Right.
the staff's recommendation.
Okay. Are there any motions or changes that you want to make, or any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve it as presented to us this evening with the staff recommendations as laid out.
A motion on the table by Tom Harrison to approve with the motions as stipulated by the county staff. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
And there's a second by Ronnie Morel. Okay, any discussion?
Did he add it, as recommended, or have you added those words that federal approvals not limited to EPA
As recommended.
as recommended?
As recommended, okay. Okay. All right, we have a motion on the table and a second. Call for votes. All in favor, say aye. And state-
Aye.
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 Aye, Tom, and Ronnie, Karen. Okay. All opposed?
Ahmad?
And I'm going to,
Luana.
Ernestine.
okay, Tawana, opposed? Okay. And I'm going to oppose because I'd like some additional. So the motion is tied. Okay. I believe.
No,
No,
No.
you're the,
you are
the
the
seventh.
tiebreaker. so you
Right,
can
I'm
add
just,
it.
right. And I oppose.
So it-
Okay.
Okay,
And so the motion failed.
okay, all right. We're out of count. Okay, all right. So moving on. So the motion does not carry, and it will go to the Board of Commissioners.
So the motion failed.
Correct.
And so.
Oh, okay, that's
We
right,
need
okay,
a-
then never mind. Okay, the motion failed, you're right, the motion failed, so we would need you're correct, motion failed, so we would need another motion.
Can I ask Ahmad to be more specific in what his requirements are with the EPA?
Would you like to make another motion with,
I mean, we rather send it to the Board of Commissioners. We deny it here and let them handle it.
no, it wasn't denied, okay, right, Terrace was correct, we did not deny it, the motion did not pass, okay? The motion was to approve, and the motion to approve did not pass, so there was not, the motion failed. If you were going to, so inclined to, wanted to deny it, you would need to make another motion to deny that. Or you can make another motion to approve it with amendments to the recommendations.
Is it proper to ask Ahmad to clarify his addition to EPA notations?
If someone wants to make that motion,
Does it require a motion?
yes, because there is no the motion did not pass, so we need a new motion.
To approve or disapprove, or to require clarification?
Either one, approve with additional modifications, or,
No, but when we made the motion, it was to approve with the
And-
recommendation. So it
Right,
it did
or-
not pass, so it did
Correct.
not pass.
correct, that, so there could be another motion with changes, or a denial, a motion to deny.
Okay, motion to deny the
Okay.
request at this time.
Okay. Motion to denied. Is there a second?
I second it.
Okay. Motion second. So now I'll call all in favor of denial.
Ahmad, aye.
Ernestine Stovall Goolsby, aye.
Okay,
Tawana Smith, NTI.
okay. All right. So there's 3 to deny. Is there any more? Okay, okay. All right. Okay. All opposed to denial?
Ronnie Burrell.
Okay.
Karen Benton.
Harrison.
Oh, Harrison, okay. All right. I wanted to redo the recommendation for the,
Motion needs to fail.
right, motion,
Or
right,
no,
motion.
the motion needs to
okay,
be completed.
Okay. I'm going to oppose, okay? So the motion to deny does not carry, okay? My thoughts is I'm okay approving it if we get the state and federal approvals. What I'm concerned about, doesn't say EPA, EPD. I would like approvals from them to make sure this operation is safe for the surrounding area, for the neighbors. So
So
that
we made a
is what.
motion.
He'd
Okay.
make a motion.
Yeah, we
We
need
made
a
a
motion.
motion for approval with the county recommendations and getting state EPA approval.
Okay.
Is that what you're, that's where you should be worded?
Right.
But you know, the motion,
I'd be for that.
now it's denied, so we can't talk, this is done, right? The motion was to deny the request.
Right, but that didn't pass.
It did.
It did not pass.
No, he just voted in.
I didn't vote for it. I
Okay,
was
so it
opposed.
did pass, so you know.
Okay, so it did not pass.
Now,
Okay,
too late.
Let's go back to the new motion. Now, we make a new motion for approval with the county recommendations and adding approval from the state EPA. Is that what we're requesting? Maud,
That is correct.
is that
I
what
would
you-
also like to, I'm sorry, I would also like to recommend that we modify the hours of operation regarding the days. If we're going to go in and modify it, and instead of Monday through Friday from 10 to 4, I prefer a 4-day week.
okay.
Because when it was originally proposed, it was expressed that was a couple of days a week. And when it was approved, the proposal for approval indicates 5 days a week. So if we're going to modify the terms, I also like to modify the number of days a week.
Okay.
Like Monday through
Well,
Thursday?
the motion is on the table from Ronnie Burrell. If he would like to amend that motion, we can, but he has the motion on the table right now.
Okay.
Okay.
So we need to amend that motion?
Ronnie would need to amend it.
Ronnie need to
because
amend it.
It's his motion.
made a motion and included your EPA approval in the motion.
And 4 days of operation instead of 5 days of operation.
Well,
10 to 4.
that's not, okay.
Amended
I
to
feel
that.
like that's getting, personally, feel like that's gonna inhibit
Right.
the actual business operator.
Okay. So your motion stands as you've made it.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta specify the days. When somebody says 4 days, you gotta specify which days. You're getting micromanaging into a man's business.
Okay, so the motion is on the table to recommend approval with the addition of EPA, EPD approval. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, including EPA, EPD.
Yes.
Good. All right. To clarify that. Okay, do we have a second?
I second it.
Okay, second by Karen. Okay. All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Mod aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Okay. All right. Is that everybody?
Oh, aye.
Okay, okay. Ernestine and Tawana, did you both vote aye?
Ernestine Stovall Goolsby voted aye.
Okay,
Tamara Santi voted aye.
okay, all right. So the motion carries unanimously. Okay, all right. Moving on. Moving on to City of Conyers business. Okay. Item C1, a request for a special use permit to establish an automotive repair and maintenance minor, an automotive parts and tire store in the general business BG zoning district. The location is 1407 Klondike Road. Parcel size is 1.335 acres. The owner is Gainer Properties, Inc. The applicant is John Tate. And the ordinance number is 1217. Nathan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As requested, is a special use permit to establish an automotive repair and maintenance facility minor and parts store, tire store in the general business zoning district. It is located at 1407 Klondike Road, tax parcel 0430020011. It is a total of 1.335 acres. Present zoning classification is general business. Future land use designation is general commercial. The existing site currently contains a 9,000 square foot building constructed in 1976 and remodeled in 1992. The remaining area of the site is asphalt parking surface. Just as a reminder, a special use permit is to provide for uses that are generally compatible with the use characteristics of a zoning district, but require individual review of their location, design, intensity, configuration, and public facility impact to determine the appropriateness of the use of any particular site in the district and their compatibility with adjacent uses. Special uses may require the imposition of additional conditions to make their uses in the specific context. There are 8 criteria which must be considered when deliberating the merits of a special use permit. Those are the exercise of zoning powers as displayed on the screen there. The area around the subject property is all zoned general business. To the north, you have a hotel. To the south, you have Conyers Animal Hospital. To the east, the applicant's current tire shop. And to the west, you have auto sales. Klondike Road is classified by the City of Conyers as a minor arterial street. Now, some items to note about a special use permit. Unless a building permit or other required approvals are secured within 12 months and construction subsequently undertaken pursuant to such building permit, the special use permit shall automatically expire. The time limitations may be extended by City Council not for more than once and not for more than 12 months upon written request by the applicant and approval by the City Council. And the special use permit shall be deemed to authorize only the particular use for which it was issued and shall expire automatically and cease to be of any force or effect if such use shall for any reason be discontinued for a period of 12 months. Within a reasonable time after the conclusion of the public hearing regarding the proposed amendment or special use, the Planning Commission shall make the recommendation to the City Council to either A, approve the proposed amendment or special use as requested by the applicant, B, approve the proposed amendment or special use with conditions. Said conditions may include rezoning to a less intense zoning district with or without conditions. C, deny the proposed amendment or special use. Or D, table the proposed or specific date, table the proposal to a specific date with the consent of the applicant. Now, the exercise of zoning power, there are those 8 criteria. Those 8 criteria with staff comments are provided to you in your staff report. The applicant has also provided his comments regarding those 8 criteria with his application. So just to look on the screen there, you do see that the surrounding area, this is at the intersection of Klondike and Iris, just south of I-20. The definition of automotive repair and maintenance minor is any repair or maintenance activity that does not require the removal of the engine head or pan, engine, transmission, or differential. Such activities include, but are not limited to, oil changes, brake repair, muffler repair, tire repair, lubrication, emissions testing, incidental body or fender work, minor painting, and upholstery work. The supplemental use standards for easy for me to say, automotive repair and maintenance are that all repair and maintenance activities shall be carried on entirely within an enclosed building, no outdoor speakers or amplification system. There shall be no outdoor storage or outdoor display of any kind, and all repair and maintenance operations must cease by 10 p.m. Now, these are the supplemental regulations that apply to all automotive repair and maintenance facilities in the city of Conyers. This property has a little bit of history with auto uses. Prior to the establishment of the general business district, automotive repair and maintenance minor and automotive repair parts stores and tire stores are two separate uses, but both require a special use permit in the BG district to ensure that these uses are generally compatible with adjacent nearby uses. As previously stated, the building was constructed in 1976 for the purpose of motor vehicle sales business, and that property has been used off and on for such a use for the last 44 years. The building contains 2 large roll-up doors and 1 smaller roll-up door that face the parking lot, and 5 large roll-up doors on the backside of the building that face the adjacent veterinarian clinic. With the adoption of the general business zoning district in 1990, auto sales and service type uses required a special use permit prior to being established. The auto sales use established at this location was grandfathered as a non-conforming use. Upon sitting vacant for a period of time, causing the loss of the non-conforming status, a special use permit to establish motor vehicle sales was granted with conditions on June 20th, 2012. Various motor vehicle sales businesses have operated at this location, with the last business closing on May 20th of 2020. On October 18th, 2017, an additional special use permit was granted at this location to allow for automobile parts stores, tire stores. A tire store operated at this location from November 2017 until it closed on May 14th of 2018. The special use permit granted on October 18th, 2017 has expired, as the use of the auto parts store, tire store has been discontinued for more than 12 months. The applicant currently owns and operates the minor automotive repair and tire store located across the street from the subject address. The address of his current location is 1398 Klondike Road, and is in the process of purchasing the subject property in hopes to relocate his business, as this location is substantially larger than his current location. And such a move, if approved, would allow a small business to grow with market demand and potentially reduce the number of visits the applicant receives from code enforcement officers due to the number of tires stored outside of the building. At this time, I'll be happy to answer any questions. If there's no questions of me, the applicant's agent, Mr. John Tate, is attending the meeting via Zoom.
Mr. Dayton,
Yes, sir.
was there any particular reason you left off one sentence on the staff analysis that there had been no complaints received during the time the store operated as a tire location?
No, sir. I guess I just got tired of reading.
Well, okay, no problem.
I have a question. You said that they were the original people that operated there. They were grandfathered in with some special conditions. Can you say what that special conditions were?
I think the conditions you're referring to, ma'am, were the special use permit that was issued in June 20th of 2012 for auto sales. It was conditioned to planting trees around the perimeter of the property. I think those trees were planted, and I do believe they have since perished. I will say that I have had one phone call in concern about this request. The property owner that owns the veterinarian clinic had concerns about potentially this property turning into a junkyard or maybe a location where cars are repaired and are waiting to be picked up and paid for by their owners, but they never do. The supplemental standard of no outdoor storage of any type would preclude or prevent any storage of vehicles for long periods of time. And staff completely understands the concern given the proximity and visibility of the site and location of the site.
This is across the street from a tire shop.
Yes, ma'am, and this, the current owner of that tire store across the street is the applicant for this request.
Scott, this is Ernestine. That location is highly visible. My concern is, just help me here a little bit. You expressed that the cars can't stay out very long, but you don't know which cars are, staying in the parking lot. And if it's the same individual that's across the street with his establishment, he does have an issue over there. And it concerns me, this is going to be a bigger issue with a bigger location. And it's going to be an issue as far as cars and tires and broken down cars. It's not a nice appearance for that bigger facility.
Right.
Yes, ma'am, and staff understands that, and have your concerns as well. I think that's probably a question that's better answered by the applicant or the applicant's agent of how they intend to address that from their business standpoint.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other questions?
No other questions. Mr. Tate, are you still with us?
Do you see, is he on, do you see him online and perhaps his mic is muted? Or is he on?
What's that?
Share your screen.
He's not online anymore?
Oh, here he is.
Okay.
Yes, he's
Right.
unmuted.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the Planning Commission. My name is John Tate, and I am representing the applicant, who is Matthias Agurd. My address is 1963 Highway 138 in Riverdale. Mr. Agurd is currently in process of closing the purchase of this particular property. It is scheduled, actually it should be happening this month. I'm not sure of the exact date. With regard to the business itself, as indicated, Mr. Agurd owns the property across the street. And of course, what has happened is that the amount of business going to that location has created the need to have additional space. Mr. Agurd is not new to this particular type business. He does own several different locations within the state. And the primary purpose of the business is the sale of tires, so that when a person brings the vehicle there, it will be for the purpose of having the tires installed. There is not an actual mechanic that will be on the premises, so there's no type of repair work other than if there's a flat tire or something. So the primary purpose is to provide for the sale of the tires themselves, which means that even though relating to the comment about, the vehicles being kept on the property, and certainly there should not be any vehicles that are on the property that remain there because they don't have their tires installed. They're there for the purpose of having the tires installed, and then they would be removed from a particular location. It is understood that, there can be no abundance of vehicles that simply remain on the property. And that is not the purpose. It is simply to make the tire sales and move on. With regard to, any other issues, a lot of the things that I was going to state, are very similar to what was stated in the comments already given. you know, the business is located in an area whereby it would not be totally inconsistent with the type of businesses that are in the area. It should not create any more of a traffic problem than, you know, it's already there. It's already a very busy area. And of course, several other businesses. There's a gas station across the street, a restaurant down the street and so forth. So Mr. Aguirre just simply wants to expand in this particular location. Again, there will not be any vehicles that will be left there outside. Certainly not left. There should be no reason for them to be left overnight. And we really don't see where there should be any negative impacts with regard to, you know, the usage. So, you know, we're asking if he could be granted the special use permit with the understanding that, you know, there may be certain stipulations, guidelines that he must adhere to. And certainly, you know, any other proposals we're open to hear and to try and comply with. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is Ahmad. I have a question. Will it be for the cars and or it will be for the tractor trailers?
These are for cars, not large commercial type vehicles.
And you said that there will be no parking overnight at that facility, correct?
Correct.
Just Tom Harrison, question for you. In the presentation, Scott mentioned that the only thing code enforcement had had to get in touch with the owner was regarding tires left outside overnight or some issue with the tires. Am I to assume that all tires will be inside the building all the time?
Yes, as I understand the guidelines, yes. There should not be any tires or vehicles that remain outside. And with regard to, I don't know if there was reference to the business across the street. I'm not aware of, you know, any issues with that particular location, but certainly with regard to the request for Klondike, 1407 Klondike, the intent is to comply with whatever stipulations or regulations are put in place.
Thank you.
I just had one question. Am I to understand also is that it will be operating in both locations, so he will continue operating at his current location and operate across the street. Am I correct?
Presently, yes. He has not indicated any need or, you know, at this time to close up the other location. So I think that's something that would be determined, you know, in the future.
Are there any other questions? Is there anybody signed up in opposition? No? Okay, all right. We'll hear the city staff recommendations.
Thank you, Mr. Tate. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Based upon the standards governing the exercise of zoning power, staff recommends approval of a special use permit to establish an automotive repair and maintenance facility minor with automotive parts stores and tire stores in the general business district at 1407 Klondike Road. In addition to the supplemental standards for automotive repair and maintenance, the following conditions shall apply. 1, tires awaiting disposal or recycling shall be contained within an enclosed building or an approved accessory structure. And 2, the hours of operation shall be limited to 5:30 a.m. to 10 p.m. daily.
We cannot restrict the usage to tractor trailers and cars. It will allow them to do whatever, right?
That is correct.
Okay. And overnight parking, can we restrict that in that after the close of the business, there will be no overnight parking in that
You're
place?
more than welcome to to add that as a condition or
Because
add,
across the street facility is open 24 hours, correct?
that is correct. That is a non-conforming operation since our current ordinance restricts auto repair or maintenance to cease operation at 10 p.m. He was established at that location prior to the adoption of this ordinance. So he can continue to operate 24 hours at that location. At this proposed location, should this request be approved with the condition, he is limited from 5:30 a.m. to 10 p.m. And yes, sir, you are correct. You may certainly add another condition to restrict commercial vehicle parking if you'd like.
And then I have a question as well, because I drive past this location every day, twice a day.
Yes, ma'am.
When you mentioned disposal and recycling of tires, what about delivery of tires? Because I can tell you from the current location, they have hundreds of tires sitting out there at times. So the delivery of tires, is that not something that they have to be delivered on the inside? Because it's hundreds. When I say hundreds, I mean hundreds.
Yes, ma'am, and that's the tires at his current location. He does have more tires than he does space, and I think that is what's prompted him to look at this location across the street. It is larger and it can hold more tires. The tires at his current location that are kept outside are what has caused him to become familiar with code enforcement and our municipal judge. So yes, the idea is that if he's able to move into this larger location, he will not be able to allow to store tires or store cars or parts or anything outside because he'd have to comply with the current ordinance. As far as tires delivered, I'm not a tire person, but I assume like with any goods that are delivered to a retailer, they're delivered at specific hours or as requested. And I assume that the tires would be brought in from a delivery vehicle into the building. Again, it might be a better question for the applicant.
Okay.
Are the tires that are currently across the street, are they permitted to be stored outside?
Unfortunately, no, sir, they're not. And that's why he's become familiar with code enforcement.
Okay.
That was the issue you mentioned earlier.
Yes, sir, that is correct.
The only thing about restricting cars overnight, if someone has a flat tire after hours.
No, it's not cars, the commercial vehicles.
Oh, commercial,
Which means
okay.
the tractor trailers.
Okay, because if someone has a flat tire,
I mean,
right, okay.
commercial vehicles, because I'm afraid that it will become, a parking for the tractor trailers
Okay.
because they will be closed after.
I misheard.
Okay. That's a good point.
Can I make a recommendation on one of the two conditions?
You're making a motion, or you're just putting it up for discussion?
Well, maybe for discussion, then it could
Okay.
become a motion. On the first sentence, maybe the city would consider adding the words "new tires" and "tires awaiting disposal or recycling." That would make sure that there were no tires outside. Say new tires and tires awaiting disposal or recycling.
If that is,
I need to make a motion for that. I'll do so.
well, if that's something that the planning commission recommends, that's certainly something you guys can recommend to add to the motion.
Okay. So there's that, and there's talk about,
And add another line to that, no commercial vehicle will be parked overnight at the facility.
okay.
That would be a third item, would it not?
Yes, sir, that is correct. That would be a third item should the planning commission make this recommendation.
Okay.
All right.
So I make a motion that with the changes, making it to 3, we approve this.
Okay. Is that clear what the changes are? Okay. You want to state them?
The first change will
The
be
record.
that there will be no used and old tires stored at the facility. I'm trying to find where it says so I can read from there.
It's one of the two recommendations, and all I wanted to do was add the words "new tires" and "tires awaiting disposal." They've already got tires awaiting disposal. Just add "new tires" and. to the front of the sentence.
And you said or recycling.
Adding the new tires and then we are adding another.
No, all I'm doing is adding 2 words to the front of that sentence.
Yes, sir. You are adding just 2 words to the
Yeah,
sentence.
new tires, or it's 3 words, excuse me. New tires and.
Yes, sir.
Why don't you just put any
I'm adding a
tires?
total new,
Okay.
Are
new
used
thing to
tires
that
allowed?
no vehicles will be parked, no commercial vehicles will be parked overnight at that facility.
Mr. Chairman, if
Item 3.
I may summarize these conditions that I'm hearing from the planning commission.
Okay.
The planning commission is discussing the conditions of number 1, new tires and tires awaiting disposal or recycling shall be contained within the enclosed building or an approved accessory structure. Condition number 2, the hours of operation shall be limited from 5:30 a.m. to 10 p.m. daily. And new condition item number 3, overnight commercial vehicle parking shall be prohibited. I believe that was the.
That is correct. So that's,
Okay. That
with
is-
these recommendations,
It's recommended by, it's okay. All right. So we have a motion on the table. Okay.
I have one question. Are you allowing used tires outside now?
No, ma'am, no used tires, nothing stored outside.
So how about we just change it to no
All tires.
anything?
Motion on the table.
Okay. Yeah.
No.
Motion on the table.
yes,
We
sir.
have a motion on the table.
Right, I second it.
Okay. Second, any discussion? All right. I'll call. All in favor, say aye.
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 Ahmad, aye.
Aye.
Who's that? Is that Ernestine?
Luana.
Twana? Okay. All right. Aye. All right. Any opposed? Do we have, I don't know, has everyone, because we didn't.
Juana's still here?
Okay.
I'm still here. I said aye.
Okay, okay, all right, okay. So motion passes unanimously. Okay. All right. Okay. Item C2, if when you make the motion, it might help if state your name so we don't we get that on record. Item C2, preliminary plat, is Vaughn's Farm, proposal for 120 single-family residential lots on 37.645 acres. The applicant is John Howard and Diane, I might butcher this name, Pathamavong, Planners and Engineers Collaboratives, Inc.
Yes, sir, thank you. Some of you may recall seeing this once before, maybe twice before.
Yes.
Third time's a charm, right? So it is a preliminary plat, has gone through staff review. It has gone through a couple renderings, and staff has recommended approval of the proposed preliminary plat as you see before you. The property is zoned RS14. It is in the Tier 1 of the MXBOD overlay district. Any questions?
We've seen it before, so why is it, I can't recall the history. Have we approved it before?
Yes, sir. It's been approved a couple different times.
So what
And
is,
a preliminary plat does expire after 12 months if no land disturbance permit
Okay.
plans have been submitted and approved and permit issued. So it's been a kind of a failure to launch it a couple times. So we're hoping
Okay.
that the third time's a charm.
okay, so that's why, so then it's back in front of us because it is, the last one expired.
Yes, sir. That is correct.
Got it.
No changes were made?
No, sir.
Okay. All right.
Can I make a motion?
Yes.
I'll make a motion we approve.
Okay. Motion to approve.
Second, Ronnie.
Second, Ronnie. Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, Tom.
State your name.
Ronnie, aye.
Karen, aye.
Ahmad, aye.
Ernestine, aye.
Luana, aye.
Steve, aye. Okay. So motion passes unanimously. Item R3, preliminary plat Creekside at Old Town Conyers. proposal for Phase 2 and Phase 3 at Creekside at Old Town Conyers with a total of 69 single-family residential lots on 14.67 acres, 1999 Bortusk Road. And the applicant is Mark Walton.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Again, some of you may have seen this. It's been around for quite some time. You received this. If you see in the bottom right-hand side of the screen, those are the conditions of zoning placed upon the rezoning of this property to MXD at some time ago. This request is to create Phase 2 and Phase 3. Previously, Phase 2 and Phase 3 were platted, and then during recession for taxation purposes, it was combined to make one tax parcel. We have a builder who is now proposing to purchase these lots, and this is a formal step they must go through to subdivide and create the lots that you see. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. This did go through staff review, and there has been no changes other than meeting the current code requirements, and staff recommends approval.
A builder proposing to buy all 69 lots, the whole thing?
I think the intent is to take down 10 or 12 with, at this time, I don't think anybody wants to bite off more than they can chew, but they don't want to get into a situation where they take 10 lots down or 12 lots, get the building going, start selling, and then all of a sudden, wait a minute, we got to stop and come back through this process to get more lots.
Okay, got it. Okay, all right. Or Mark, anything to add, or you're here
It's
for any
good for you
questions?
to walk all the way up there.
Yeah.
It's your exercise.
Okay.
We're safe distance right now.
Can I make a motion?
Okay, okay.
Can I make a motion to approve?
Sure.
Karen, I make a motion to approve.
Okay, motion
Tom,
approved.
second.
Second by Tom.
I second.
Okay, all in favor? Say
Karen,
aye.
aye.
State your name.
Ronnie, aye.
Ahmad, aye.
Tawana, aye.
Ernestine, aye.
And Steve, aye. Okay, motion passes.
Thank you.
Okay, welcome. Moving on back to Rockdale County. Item R2 is a special use permit, case number 2020-03. It's a request for alterations to the conditions of approval as approved under special use permit case number 2014-08 for a private school as an accessory use to a place of worship in the AR zoning district. The location is 1151 Flat Shoals Road, 5 acres. The owner is Kingdom Builders Covenant Church. The agent is E. Brian Watkins for Kingdom Builders Covenant Church.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Terry Petrie, zoning administrator. This request is to increase the grades to K through 12 from K through 5, and to increase the enrollment increase the enrollment to 125 from 99 students. This location is on the south side of Flat Shoals Road, in between Highway 138 to the west and Old Salem Road to the east. This location is an existing church, and it is adjacent to another place of worship to the east and to the south. Additionally, this location is adjacent to the city of Conyers, which is to the west. The specific zoning district for the city of Conyers is Gateway Village, Urban Village sub-area. And in 2014, the Board of Commissioners did approve a request for K through 5, along with a 99 maximum enrollment. And due to the circumstances of this being adjacent to another place of worship along with the city's non-residential zoning district. Staff recommends approval of the request with the following conditions of zoning. The private school may operate with grades K through 12. The enrollment of the school as an accessory use to a place of worship on 5 acres shall not exceed 125 students. The approval of a special use permit for K through 12 private school does not authorize any independently owned or operated private school other than by Kingdom Builders Covenant Church doing business as Excel Church. The issuance of a special use permit shall only constitute approval of the proposed use, and development of the use shall not be carried out until the applicant has secured all other permits and approvals required. And that completes staff's presentation.
All right.
I have a question. Will it change them from the non-profit status to the full profit status? If it's a private?
That would be a question for the applicant. However, the church itself is a nonprofit registration.
Is the applicant here or online?
Attorney Brian Watkins for the applicant, yes. Good evening.
Okay, good evening.
And the question was whether or not it will go from a nonprofit use to a for-profit use?
That is correct.
No, it's not expected. The church still anticipates to be operating in a nonprofit status.
So how will they be operating a private school if they are, then it means private school, they will be competing with the other private schools in the county.
Well, it's an accessory use for the church, and from my understanding, looking at the rules, this is the provisions under which we had to apply. Also, this is kind of an extension. When I looked at the prior application, it is a similar application from Kingdom Builders for when the school was previously operated. And we just want to be able to expand this, not just limited to K through 5 students.
Any other questions, the applicant? Okay. All right.
Mr. Chairman, I do have a further explanation that I forgot to mention.
Okay.
Once this.
How many students they have right now? Do we know?
It was 111.
But they were allowed not to exceed 99 students. How they have 111 students?
Well, it's the present status is that these students are all virtual for the most part. The number that could visit the campus right now is no more than 60.
Still, when we allow a school to have X number of students, it does not say that it will be virtual or it will be on site, does it?
No, it doesn't. But that is the present status, that no more than that are allowed on the campus at this time.
Because if it was allowed for 99 students in 2014 and they have 111 students in 2020, if we allow for 125 students, and it will not make the sense, because up to 5th grade 111, how will you have 125 up to K to 12? You already have 125 students.
It may be 99 is it 99 on campus?
There are not 99 on campus. It would not exceed.
But it's the limit.
The enrollment of the school should not exceed 99.
Enrollment, okay.
And so before I forget,
And in 2014, the enrollment was not supposed to be more than 80 children. That was the staff recommendation.
And just as a point of clarification, the school is on the site plan, what's known as what's called as an educational building, and it is 35,000 square feet. There is an existing daycare on site as well, I believe in the range of the building here. That's 3,850 square feet in playground. So I just want to clarify that, getting back to the number of students, because of this pandemic that we are in, I advised Mr. Watkins to, or requested Mr. Watkins to assist the county in acquiring any studies or amendments that other communities have done to regarding the enrollment on site. And so the county is definitely understanding that, just like the county plans on proceeding with the virtual or hybrid meetings, that the pandemic provided the opportunity, there may be an opportunity for schools in the future to do a hybrid as well. And so that's something that we definitely would like to address next year.
Tom Harrison,
I have a question. Sorry, go ahead.
Were there virtual students prior to the pandemic?
Well, prior to this particular occasion here, the school had closed for a while and we wanted to open it. So at this particular location, you know, it was previously Victory Christian Church. I can't recall exactly what year the school had closed during that time. So I can't answer the question as to when it was the prior school, what the enrollment was.
But the condition that you referred to as you're exceeding the 99 students and you're in virtual. So I'm confused as to what was going on there, you know, in the last school year.
So
was
the
it
last
open?
No, last school year it was not open, the last school year.
So this is a whole new ball game. Open it up as K through 12 with a projected 125 student maximum. Is that correct?
That's correct. I mean, we don't expect to get that, and it certainly is not going to be on campus. I mean, like I said, it's only it doesn't exceed 99 virtual now.
Well, I think if you're going to have, you know, the number 125 associated with the maximum of K through 12, then I think it needs to be specified as a certain percentage are going to be virtual all the time. Because you're not going to get 125 kids in there, K through 12, if you've already got 111 students enrolled, even though some of them are virtual. Am I missing something here?
Well, I do have a question for
enrollment of 125 students in grades K to 12. You know, enrollment is virtual or on site. It does not matter. The enrollment is enrollment. They are part of the school. And, you know, 13 grades from K to 12 is 13 grades. And 125 students, this school is a failure before it starts from business standpoint.
Mr. Tyrus. So I have a question. Do you have any of the information from the previous school, Victory Christian School? My child went to Victory Christian School, and I can say, if you can share with us the maximum capacity that school can hold, because I think Victory was around for over 10 years. I believe they had at some point 175 kids in that school, almost 200. That school used to go to from kindergarten to high school. So I'm very familiar with the building, but if you can share with us the maximum capacity.
The maximum capacity has not been, I've not been able to find the maximum capacity. I do know from looking at the file, I was able to find the 2014 file. And I believe Victory Christian must have, and if somebody who actually lived here during this time, please correct me, but my understanding is that Victory Christian had been established prior to 2006. Therefore, some of the conditions that were implemented by the adoption of the Unified Development Ordinance on November 26, 2006, or 28, were new and did not apply to Victor Christensen.
That it was established prior to 2006.
Yes, it was.
Yes.
And I can attest to that it was, they may have been grandfathered in, but
Exactly.
the school capacity and all of the classrooms, of which I've been in every last one of them, was well over 150 kids.
I think what we're dealing with, there's some questions whether the current situation that the church is over capacity, but that is something that the county would need to look in or not look into, and it really is not pertinent to, what we're voting on tonight, in terms of what the county is recommending going on for the K through 12 proposal. And it's up to the county to, enforce the regulations. So what we're looking at is what's on the table here, a K through 12 school with a maximum capacity of enrollment of 125 students. So if is there any more discussion and or emotions?
I'll make a motion to deny the request.
Motion to deny, is there a second? Okay, there's no second, so the motion fails on lack of a second. Do we have is there another motion?
I make a motion to approve. Ernestine Stovall.
Motion to approve by Ernestine,
I second it.
Tawana Smith Fenty.
second by Karen.
Point of clarification. Is it approved with staff's recommendation or without? Any
I assume,
any-
and I didn't
any
make the
condition?
motion, but I assume it's with staff recommendations? Is it, who made the motion? Is it-
I, Ernestine, with staff recommendations.
Okay, so to clarify, it's with staff recommendations, okay? And so do we have a second on that?
Karen Benton.
Karen Benton, second, okay. Any further discussion? Okay. All in favor, and if you could state your name, say aye.
Karen Benton, aye.
Tom, I.
Tawana Smith Fenty, aye.
Ronnie, aye.
Ernestine, I.
Steve, aye. Okay. And all opposed?
Ahmad, aye.
Okay, Ahmad, one opposed. The motion carries 6-1.
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. All right. Moving on to item R3. This is a text amendment, case number 2020-04. A request to amend section 106-1 definitions, sections 218-1 table of permitted uses, section 218-13 standards of use and development, section 222-2 parking space requirements regarding caterers and mobile food vendors, and the applicant is the county staff.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chair Petrie, zoning administrator. And this case is regarding caterers and mobile food vendors. We would like to amend the ordinance regarding said subjects, and starting with the table of permitted uses, essentially, there's minor rewording regarding the definition of a mobile food vendor. We're recommending a motorized wheeled vehicle designed and utilized for the preparation and sale of food and non-alcoholic beverage items to the general public, and whose operations are self-contained within the confines of the vehicle. Such vehicles shall operate in accordance with state law and the rules and regulations for food service of the Rockdale County Environmental Health Department. The major add or revision was clarifying that the permitted types are permittees selling ice cream from a motor vehicle and food trucks. Currently, food carts and food trailers are not permitted, and staff is recommending that that stays to further analysis. Staff is also recommending creation of new definitions, including base of operation, which is a fixed location with a food service permit from which a mobile food vendor or caterer operates, and caterers, which is a permitted food service establishment that has been approved by the Rockdale County Environmental Health Department to perform catering operations off-site. The person that actually moved this project forward was Mobile Food Court, which is a permanent vending location. Definition is any property or building for which the primary purpose is to allow mobile food vending to occur on site. And mobile food temporary vending location, a fixed property location where a mobile food vendor parks to offer its food products to its consumer, or a route along a street that a mobile food vendor travels and periodically stops at predetermined dates and times to offer its food products to its consumers on a temporary basis. And the final definition is mobile food vendor incubator, which is a food service establishment properly sized, designed, equipped, and managed to foster mobile food vendors by covering the capital startup cost through the provision of a commercial food service kitchen. These commercial food service kitchen facilities are rented to incubatees, also known as members, on a separation of time and space basis. The mobile food vendor incubator, also known as an incubated food service establishment, kitchen incubator or shared kitchen, enables a mobile food vendor operation to develop to the stage where it may invest in its own commercial food service establishment, equipment, and facilities. As part of this, we are also asking that the table of permitted uses be amended as shown on the screen here. And basically, we are adding base of operations to the caterers because where caterers do their actually business occurs elsewhere, which is captured under other names. And so we're focused on where they cook the food. And we're adding the industrial locations because there are certain areas of the county that were zoned BG or similar prior to 2006, and they were converted to M1. And so we still have a mix of offices, caterers, establishments, et cetera, in the M1 districts. And so that's why we're adding M1. We're renaming mobile food vendor to mobile food temporary vending location and keeping that as is. We're adding mobile food vending, we are adding the mobile food vendor base of operations and mobile food vendor incubator, and allowing them in C2 and M1 zoning districts, because those are the locations that allow for outdoor storage, particularly the food trucks. And we're also creating another use of, or creating another used mobile food court, also known as permanent vending location, and permitting that in the MXD and C2 zoning districts. MXD again is on Salem Road currently. We are also recommending supplemental regulations for the mobile food court permanent vending location. And those conditions include the site must be located upon an arterial or collector roadway and have direct access upon said roadway. The site must be serviced by public water and sewer. All food trucks must be positioned in a designated parking space constructed of a hard surface area that is under a covered canopy. No truck can block any driveway, entrance, exit, parking lot aisle, loading area, customer employee parking area, or fire lane. A maximum of 6 designated food truck parking spaces can be located on site. Climate-controlled indoor dining areas shall be provided. Outdoor covered or uncovered dining areas shall be provided. Permanent ADA restroom facilities shall be provided. All primary and accessory structures shall be limited to 1 story in height. All primary and accessory exterior building and materials shall be constructed of brick, stone, stucco, or similar building materials as approved by the director. All canopy support structures shall be constructed of brick or stone. Dumpsters shall be screened on 3 sides by a brick or stone wall and have opaque closable gates of a suitable height and material to adequately conceal them. The permitted number of designated food trucks, if allowed by the Rockdale County Environmental Health Department, may remain on site in the designated food truck parking spaces overnight. However, other food trucks will have to comply with the outdoor storage in section 1813 Y. Additionally, finally, we are asking that that a mobile food court permanent vending location parking use classification be created that requires 2 parking spaces per food truck. And that completes my presentation.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Section 5, number 2. The site must be serviced by public water and sewer. Does that mean that, it will not be in the county? Or it means sewer or septic?
Okay, so what that means is that it has to be on Rockdale.
Sewer.
It has to be on water. So public water is public water, but sewer is public sewer as opposed to septic.
So then it will not be in Rockdale County. It will be in City of Congress. You hardly have 10% county which have the sewer.
It'd be in that 10%.
Yeah, I mean.
So it would be,
on 138,
would be in the areas of the county that already have sewer that are not part of Conyers, such as the southwest corner of I-20 and Highway 138.
I mean, like three buildings, right?
Yes, sir.
I get it. Okay. I mean, it should be approved by the health department. It should not be public sewer. It should be, anything approved by the health department, not public
Gotcha.
sewer. Because that is gonna restrict a lot of businesses to go in.
Okay. And the county staff is definitely willing to go with Planning Commission's recommendation.
I had a question just to clarify the wording. Mobile food vendor, the first thing, can only sell ice cream. Is that correct?
So the way that
And then there's mobile food
the
incubator.
existing
Right.
ordinance is there, I'll share a screen here. Share.
Bob, what Brilla wanted. Bob.
So the existing ordinance already has a mobile food vendor with supplemental regulations, and the first one is permittees selling ice cream from a motor vehicle, which is ice cream trucks, and mobile food vendors, which is a second classification. And so mobile food vendors really is currently mobile food trucks at this time.
Okay.
So mobile food vendors would have a route where, for instance, maybe they go to the industrial businesses and during hours of 12 to 1, and then go to another location between 2 and 3. And that's their route that is approved by the Environmental Health Department and the County Planning and Development Department. So they stop at certain locations.
So with the text says there, so a mobile food vendor is not just somebody selling ice cream.
Correct.
It'll be a food truck.
Right, food, right. Well,
It is definitely,
right. I didn't think it would be, but that's kind of like,
it definitely
right.
could require more work. However, it requires more work. And with the current staff that we had, we decided to try and limit our scope of work.
Okay, all right. Okay, any more questions and
I have
motions?
one more question. The existing food court, are they working based on this or?
The
Rockdale County Food Court?
okay, so that instigated this change. They are requesting to have at least 4 food trucks to be there at a time. However, they cannot have 4 there until this is changed.
So they started working before this?
They,
Or they are done over there?
the staff believes that the current ordinance allows them to have up to 2 that are there during the daytime. When these are overnight, it gets complicated because they have to have a variance from the Environmental Health Department to operate an incubator. And so the staff they are in the final stages of the permit process to operate for 2.
Okay. Any more questions, motions?
One more question, just for clarification. Is there a time frame that the vending trucks can operate? I just was wondering, because you had just said night and day. I was just like, can they be 24 hours?
In theory, staff did not include an operation time. The discussion was when I said overnight, that was the parking of the vehicles overnight.
Yes, sir. Okay.
And I think the businesses which does not sell alcohol as a restaurant, they can stay open 24 hours in county ordinance right now. And they will not be allowed to sell alcohol.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any more questions, motions?
Make a motion, we approve. Karen?
Okay. Karen, motion to approve?
Would you like to change the wording on section 5, line 2?
Yes.
With
Well,
the amendment to,
how about you make the motion? What was the question? What was it? We find it.
About
Actually, I did not get a copy of that one.
public water and sewer, you were trying to amend that, just public water and not add
public
sewer and.
water, I mean, sewer, health department have to give the permission, I mean, it will be a process.
You're saying.
If you do not enter sewer, then, I mean, yes, they will be going through the health department. They can't just pump the water outside, their building,
You're saying
if
it's
they are on septic.
septic tank, right?
They're talking about a permanent location on this one. That's the reason they got the sewer in there, I think.
Yeah,
They're not talking about a mobile, they're talking about
Permanent.
Yeah,
The
permanent
permanent
location
location.
can run on a septic tank. Like if you look at the Publix on 212 and George 138, they are running the whole operation on a septic tank. I mean, it's costing them arm and leg, but once again, they were allowed to do that business because it was in the ordinance. So if you put the public sewer, then you are kind of taking that right away from them.
okay.
All right, we have a motion on the table. And is that
Yes.
something, Aaron, you wanted
still
to
reading?
amend or as
So you're talking about where the
section,
number 2, where it says site must be serviced.
section 5, number 2, on page 3 of 4.
Right, yeah, I'm looking at it. So you want that to change to say,
I mean, either we stop at public water, so that will automatically send them to the health department, and health department will, tell them what kind of sewage capacity do they need, because for restaurant use, you need a bigger sewer capacity. It's not like for regular commercial.
so change that to state what
The site must
exactly.
be serviced by public water, period.
Sewer or septic tank?
Yeah,
Okay,
then I think that would satisfy
okay.
mod.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to add septic tank, it's.
Okay.
You would say
All right.
and not septic?
There.
Does everybody understand what he's,
If you look at the screen, Tom, that's he made the change.
Right.
So with this change,
motion to approve with
with
Okay.
the change made by the county recommendation.
recommendations on section 218.13, number 2, to modify it to say site must be serviced by public sewer and septic? Is that what you're
I
saying?
mean, if you look
Public
at the
water.
screen, he already made the change. If you look at the screen.
Site must be serviced by public water would
Public water,
include, sewer or septic.
sewer or septic,
Right, but
okay.
you don't
Does that
have to-
make sense?
You don't have to put that in.
Right.
Okay,
It's,
okay.
I mean, you can put it in there, but,
The way he's redlined it makes sense. Just,
yeah, right, the way it is, I mean, it's up to you, Karen. The site must be serviced by public water will serve the same purpose
Correct.
to allow.
But does everybody understand what just
Yes.
happened? Okay. All right.
Right, what's happening is it
Does
allows
staff
for sewer.
understand?
access.
Does
Okay.
everybody understand? Okay,
So I'll second it.
okay.
Okay, the motion is to approve with the change, the site must be serviced by public water instead of public water and sewer. And we have a motion to approve and a second, okay? All in favor, say aye.
Karen, I.
Tom, I.
Ronnie, aye.
One eye.
Ernestine, I.
And Steve, aye. So motion carries unanimously. All right, moving on. Item R4, text amendment case number 2005, a request to amend section 106-1C, definitions regarding truck stops. County staff.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chair Petrie, Zone Administrator. Staff is recommending that the definition of a truck stop be changed from this, that's on the screen, to, and this is just for, I ordered it so that it kind of flows better for the planning commissioners. So staff is recommending that the definition be truck stop, which is a gasoline station or gasoline station with convenience store that dispenses diesel or any other fuel or petroleum product used by heavy trucks, and which includes one or more of the following additional facilities: a parking area designed for use by heavy trucks, rate scales designed for use by heavy trucks, a raised canopy used primarily or exclusively by heavy trucks to dispense diesel or other heavy truck fuel that is separate or distinct from the canopy or area used to dispense fuel to cars, a restaurant or fast food restaurant, which includes either dine-in facilities or a drive-through window or both, facilities for the maintenance and or repair of heavy trucks, facilities for the overnight storage of heavy trucks, shower facilities made available to crews of heavy trucks, graded hard surface areas designed specifically to accommodate the wide turning radius utilized by heavy trucks, specially designed entrances and exits to accommodate access by numerous heavy trucks and or any other specialized facility or amenity designed specifically for the use of heavy trucks and or the crews of heavy trucks. Even with the revision to the definition, truck stops are still a prohibited use. And that completes staff's presentation.
You're saying here, the truck stops aren't allowed.
Correct, and it has not been allowed
Right.
since
And if
at least 2000.
When you say includes one or more of the following, a restaurant or fast food restaurant, which includes either dine-in facilities or a drive-through window, or both. But a restaurant or fast food restaurant is allowed a permitted use. So how are you saying, because you say one or more of the following, which would lead me to believe that a restaurant is a prohibited use?
the combination of both, basically, that's what it says.
It
that the
says-
gasoline
But it's,
station,
and
Oh, which
Which
includes,
does-
okay, right, and okay, got it.
really,
Like the
let me
flying
tell you
jet.
this technically, if you add one more point to that, any MPDs with higher flow rate of gasoline that will block the truck stop, basically. I mean, you don't have to go through all this rest. Any MPDs
MPDs.
Yeah, having flow rate faster than 5 gallons per minute will not be allowed.
Would you add that as number 11?
MPD is mobile petroleum dispenser.
Okay.
Flow rate faster than.
5
So
gallons.
any MPDs having a flow rate faster than 5 gallons per minute.
You add that as number 11?
Yeah, I mean, whatever the last
Right,
number was.
right, okay. Okay, that's a good idea.
I think the man used to own a gas station.
Maybe.
All right.
Never mind, sorry.
I read that wrong. It's, they has to have when I said about the restaurants, it's one or more of the following, but at a gasoline station. So, okay. All right, so are you making any discussion or motions?
I'll make a motion to approve with the change number 11 would be added.
I second it, Karen.
All right, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Karen, I.
Tom, I.
Ronnie, aye.
Ernestine, I.
Water, aye.
Steve, aye. So motion passes. All right. And last item on the agenda. A request to amend Chapter 310 Stormwater Management. The applicant is county staff.
And planning and development yields to the stormwater department.
All right. All right. So okay, there we are. You gotta unmute her. You gotta.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. I'm Ann Weed Kimbrough, Director of Stormwater Management for Rockdale County, the Department of Stormwater Management. And we have an interesting item before you because it is mandated by the state that we update Section 310 of our code, of our unified code. So I want to go through, I think, Tyrus, you have control of the PowerPoint slides. Is that correct?
If that's what you want me to, yes, ma'am.
I believe that's what you asked me to do, or do something like that this afternoon, if you don't mind.
All right, just a
We'll
moment.
get through these really quickly. I'm out here with Lakefield Dam in the background. We've updated our dam, so we're in compliance with the state, with the Georgia Safe Dams. We're pretty proud of that. Okay, as we say here, it's called the model ordinance. It's being updated from 2002, when the state last came together and decided to update this. As it states here, we're under a state mandate. All jurisdictions and municipalities in the state of Georgia, under the Georgia Environmental Protection Division, we have to update and adopt our post-construction stormwater management ordinance for all developments by the year 2021. So the ideal model is for us to have it adopted this year. Okay, I'm ready. I'm sorry about that. So very briefly, it's a paradigm shift in regards to some of the conversations that were even held this evening. We established what is called minimum requirements and procedures so that we can ensure that there is proper management of construction and stormwater runoff. Why is that taking place? Because simply we want to continue to protect our water and other aquatic resources. We want to minimize all damage to public and private property and infrastructure. And of course, we've got to safeguard our health, safety, environment, and general welfare. We're looking out for the public. So one of the key features is the runoff reduction and feasibility report. And there's two parts to this. It's this slide and the next slide. So I'll just go through this one. Basically, the design professional, we've had many that have stood before you. They have to submit a runoff reduction in feasibility report if they want to be considered for a waiver to reduce the runoff criteria. And even with the waiver, they have to meet certain standards. So the water criteria applies to the runoff reduction criteria if it's deemed infeasible for all or a portion of the site. So simply put, if we are seeking the highest quality of involvement, before you get there, of involvement from the developer, from the applicant, that always passes through us, and then they go back to planning and development. And if for some reason they're not able to match the criteria from the state, and they're pretty high, then they have to make a determination of their infeasibility, and we will consider those according to the state guidelines. So next one, please. Thank you. Another feature is known as the linear feasibility study. Something happened to my screen. Okay. And what it means is that this is where the state gave us a little bit of leeway, but yet with guidance. And in these cases, we have situations whereby we have the transportation department, specifically RDOT in our county, the Rockdale Department of Transportation. And they have linear transportation projects that include their construction projects. I believe we had 3 that we looked at this year. Those projects are any of those that are traveled on any ways in Rockdale County that include but are not limited to roads and sidewalks, multi-use paths, of course, and trails. So this program sets reasonable criteria for us to determine if these projects indeed will meet the Rockdale County standards as set forth by our state EPD. Next slide. So this linear feasibility study, the way it's written here by our expert engineer, Adam, who's on the call somewhere ready to answer questions with me, means that, it simply means there are a lot of fancy words and words that seem to be the reverse of what they're intended to be. But with our transportation requests, and they come through our department as well, if the transportation department wishes to be considered for a waiver, one of the following conditions must exist, and they must provide the stormwater management acronym there is actually that areas, that departments, that entity that's asking for it. So in this case, RDOT, they would have to show us they would have to prove one of the 3, not all 3. One is either or. Their cost for them to not meet the standards, which again are set at a good level. Their costs, it could be cost prohibitive. It may, if they have to meet certain standards, if it goes beyond a long period of time that goes past a half year or so, and if it poses a threat to public safety. Because we're in Rockdale County, we do have some interesting surfaces, and some projects end up in places that may actually cause a drop-off. So we present this for educational purposes. So we're done with that slide. We move into the next one. So for educational purposes, all of the municipalities in the state of Georgia that operate our MS4 systems, our stormwater systems, we are to present to the county or to the city in some cases. As a result of that, we are to have our standards approved. And it's interesting, the reason why I began with this interesting is because we're mandated to do this. We followed all of the red lines that they provided us. We updated our measures in accordance with our legal authority, and our county attorney has approved this to form. So we are presenting to you as a part of the uniform ordinance, development ordinance that we are a part of. And that concludes my presentation on this matter.
Thank you. Any questions?
So basically what we are saying is that for the new developments, if the cost of stormwater control is more than 15% or it exceeds by 180 days, they can do it without it.
They can do it with, okay, I'm sorry. They can do it without it, but with approval. So we want to make sure that we don't have a situation whereby you or any other entity would ask questions about the stormwater runoff, et cetera. So we would have to have those provisions in place to explain why. But with that, they would have to submit a plan and their plan would have to be approved. So we're not here to delay any projects or have them cost more than they need to, or even put them in a bad situation. So yes, the answer is that they would be able to get it approved if the plan is approved. Good question, thank you.
Is there a taxpayer sitting here for favor or against it?
Is there what?
A taxpayer who is sitting here for favor or against it?
This matter is one that is really for educational purposes because we are presenting on behalf, we really are presenting on behalf of the EPD, but we have to present locally in all fairness. So we have already had a meeting with our stakeholders, primarily those that will be impacted by development. We asked the Atlanta Regional Commission to assist us and our Metro Water District individuals. And so we had a Zoom call where 200 plus, I forget the exact number, were invited. Up until a few hours ago, I guess there's an expiration date on the call as it relates to the Metro Atlanta Water District. So we will put the presentation up and we will continue to educate and work with all of our stakeholders who have questions, naturally have questions about the update of this measure, of this amendment. I mean, our amendment to Section 310.
One of the questions maybe taxpayers might have, there's, I read about the proposal to increase the stormwater rates substantially. Is that in response to this new requirements?
Actually, it's separate from the requirement, but still related. This requirement, this unfunded mandate from the state requires that we will have many more sit downs and inspections of properties. There's always been a section in the ordinance that speaks to inspections that occur, and we sign those agreements with our applicants. It could be a developer, it could be a licensed architect. They have to be a professionally licensed in the state. So there are additional resources that will be needed, but the stormwater rate has not been adjusted since 2004 or 5, whenever it was instituted. The utility was actually intended. So it just happened this year. I thought about those things. I said, boy, this is all happening at one time, separate, but yet related, because it will aid in the efficient and effective processes that we have in place. And we have, when we can work with our customers, when we're made aware of certain projects, because we're out trying to find some and we get complaints. And that's how we sometimes find out about some of the projects that may be going on, but we have a good team in Rockdale County and we're notified. But when we find out about projects, even if it's after the fact, we still have the right to inspect and to ensure that we're looking out for all citizens, as well as the developers. We want to, and we're educating an awful lot. So we're spending a lot of time in the education room. So during this virtual period of time, we're very happy to spend time answering questions and letting folks know what the enforcement measures will be and what they are now.
All right, thank you.
But these amendments are made by Rockdale County, not what was provided by the state, correct?
So
like
yes,
180 days and 15%, and if there is a hazard, or this was part of the state recommendation.
Yes, and I had an opportunity to speak to a member of that particular committee that worked through with the state. So the state set up various committees to look at different sections of its updates. So they provided us, along with other jurisdictions, with a red line item, copies of things that we could do. Then where they say, oh, well, you locally, you have the opportunity to update your items as per what you recommend, yet they gave us the recommendations. And what they really mean by that is they didn't have every section number. In this case, we're in section 310. So those section numbers we added and those things, but those 3 recommendations in the category that you referenced, that, yes, that comes from the state and it comes in consultation with the committee members. So I became aware about mid-year, somewhere in late June, of what was required of us. However, the actions were completed last December 4th, and they began to send those out. And we then began to have a lot of Zoom and team meetings and other kind of virtual meetings in large groups to find out more about what we could do, what we couldn't do, ask questions, consult websites. And we've also, by the way, we began this whole effort internally. We didn't want to have something spring on all of our end users, or our immediate users, I should say. So we had a meeting with the Planning and Development Department, and separately, we then later met with our technicians, met with the Transportation Department, since the linear area is one that they would have to be aware of and adhere to. So we started with our internal team, because without our team, we don't have a lot of force in the marketplace or out there externally. So that worked, and then we discussed it with the chairman's office and other department heads, and then we moved forward with a educational meeting in September with our primary external stakeholders. And then we went before the commissioners, and now we're before you based on where we are in the Uniform Development Ordinance.
Thank you. More questions, discussion, motions?
Last item, always works.
All right, come on, somebody step
I
up.
make a motion that we approve the new ordinance as submitted.
Okay, motion approved by Tom,
I'll second it.
second by Karen. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Karen,
Aye.
Ronnie, aye.
Ahmad, aye.
Anna,
Ernestine, aye.
Steve, aye. And so we're good. Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Appreciate it. All right, we're on to reports. City of Conyers, the city council on August 16th. Update.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Previously, we had a special use permit request for a liquor store at 1081 Irish Drive. That request was approved with conditions. And the special use permit for a transitional housing facility at 1555 Millstead Road was approved by the city council as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Report Rockdale County.
The county cases are scheduled for the October 27th Board of Commissioners zoning public hearing at 9 a.m., which is on a Tuesday. And finally, the next regularly scheduled planning commission meeting will be on November 12th.
Okay, our Thanksgiving edition.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Okay. All right, any public comments excluding items in the zoning process?
it's really cold in here.
Okay,
Looks like an empty building to me.
what's that?
Looks like an empty building to me.
Yeah.
An empty, cold
Yeah,
building.
yeah.
It's really
Right.
cold.
Yes, it is cold in here. Okay,
Anyone
so with that, we have a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion, we go by.
Okay, motion by Karen to adjourn.
I
By
second.
Ronnie, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Says aye.
I think that's all unanimous. We are adjourned, and we'll see y'all November 12th.
With a blanket.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.